What's up? A to Z Sports here live on a Sunday morning. It's 11:30. The Titans and the Jags kick off in less than 30 minutes, but the college football playoff rankings are still coming out as we get going. We know where Tennessee is at. They're going to as the 9 seed to Ohio State. There's a lot of, I think, very questionable decisions that were made by the committee ahead of that 9th spot. We're still trying to find out whether it's SMU, Indiana, Alabama, the 2 spots left. I'm guessing it's going to be SMU and Indiana, but against who? I'm not sure. But we'll find that out here momentarily. We're going to have a little combo show here as we're going to do our regular X Factors and our picks for Titans versus the Jags. But we're also going to lead off with some initial college football playoff rankings reaction as that is happening as we speak. I've got things and opinions about how ESPN has done this. That is not my favorite thing, but we're going to go through all of the reaction here. But officially, before we get going, Easton, tell the people what they got to do here. And that's, like and share. Tell them what they got to do.
Yeah, there it is. You got to like and share the show. Help us out with that thumbs up this morning before we get into the reaction to the college football playoff. And then we get into some Titans Jaguars. Hit that like button on Facebook, hit that like button on YouTube, like the show, and then jump in the chat. I know everybody's got an opinion on the college football playoff, which we're going to spend the first half of today's show on. So jump in there. Let us know what you think. Obviously you could probably guess between the two of us, who's the more passionate about this topic. And so I'm going to let Austin Stanley get some things off his chest this morning and offer some feedback here and there. But Austin, where do you want to start on the college football playoff?
Well, I first of all, I have to officially welcome into everybody to our pregame show here on Titan Game Day Live, presented by our friends at X Golf Nashville and Murfreesboro. PlayXGolf.com is where to go if you're in the Nashville area. It's very cold outside. You still want to get your golf game going. PlayXGolf.com is where to check them out. Also, BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. BetMGM is where to go. Sign up with our code ATOZ Sports to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. If your first bet misses, we'll have some picks later on today. And T-Dot, join the solution to keep Tennessee beautiful and end littering across our state of Tennessee by visiting NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. We need people to like the show. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch here live on the show. Titans and Jags getting set to start, but still waiting on the official final spot. That's going to be SMU versus Penn State instead of Alabama versus Penn State as Indiana gets Notre Dame. So we're going to react to this college football playoff bracket time. We're going to go ahead and do a half college football show, half Titan show. We'll get to our X Golf X Factors here in a second for this game against the Jags, and we'll also get to our BetMGM picks too. But let's start it off, Easton. And I don't have the final brackets. The bracket show's been going on for now 35 minutes, and they have not just now finished the final bracket. So I can't give you guys a graphic.
It's like they think nothing else is going on today in the world of football.
Ridiculous way this was handled. But SMU is the final team. So seeds 1, Oregon. They play the winner of 9 seed Tennessee at 8 seed Ohio State. 2 seed Georgia plays the winner of 10 seed Indiana at 7 seed Notre Dame. Then you've got 3 seed Boise State, who got a gift yesterday with SMU losing, moves up to the 3, gets the winner of SMU, the 11 seed at 6 seed Penn State. And then you've got 4, the Arizona State, who is ranked 12th in the rankings, but they are the 4th seed as the winner of the Big 12. Plays the winner of Texas as the 5, who hosts the 12th seed, but 16th ranked team in Clemson. Alabama is out. SMU stays in. I saw Quinn on ESPN, Quint Kessenich, who is the ESPN reporter from SMU's on-site broadcast, said that this is like the college football playoff version of Survivor.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
I had no Survivor references in my life until Sam went on the show, and now I can't avoid the show. I don't know what's going on. I see it everywhere.
And so Quinn says it's SMU lost the challenge to get their
it was a strong
immunity.
Metaphor. Yeah.
And now they're just sitting there waiting to find out what happened at tribal council. But I think SMU and Clemson collaborated for its own version of Operation Italy, and they said, hey, let's do this. Let's kick Alabama out by losing this game by a 56-yard field goal as time expired after SMU ties it And that is what Operation Italy is for college football playoff version. But Easton, your first thoughts, Alabama out, SMU in. Do you think it's the correct decision? Yes, no, where are you at?
It's less to me about what the correct decision is and more about just the beautiful mess that the college football playoff situation is. I struggle to really have a super strong opinion on this because of how flawed the system is in general and how it's inherently subjective. And every time I watch a college football game that matters for the playoff, or I listen to an argument over who should be in over another team, I'm just left really thankful for the clean, logical, mathematical way that the NFL goes about this. It is beautiful the way the NFL does it. Now, it's also beautiful the way college does it, but beautiful like a really big building fire where it's a disaster, but you can't look away because it is gorgeous in a way. And as a fan of college football, I love it. If I worked in college football media, it would make me quit my job because it's just so hard to pin down. I'll stick to the general stuff. The committee sucks at this. And you and I talked about it before we jumped on the stream here. We've known this, though. They've sucked at this for years. This is not a 12 team playoff expansion thing that they suck at. They're just bad at it in general. And the reason why they're bad at it is because the committee operates like some of our worst politicians in Washington. The committee is a weather vane. They don't have any guiding principles. They don't have any deeply rooted foundational elements to the way that they approach this. They say one thing and they do another, and then they say a different thing and they do another. Every year, they essentially pick the playoff based on vibes, if we're being 100% honest. And they talk about, we've tried to get the 4 best teams, or now the 12 best teams. And the conversation becomes, well, do they mean best or do they mean most deserving? And what should be the criteria? Should it be best? Should it be most deserving? Should we value big wins more than we value bad losses? Ultimately, I think every year the committee just goes with, they lick their finger, they stick it up in the wind, and they go with what feels right. They go with their gut. They go with the vibe. And I think this year the gut check was, Bama, for better or for worse, fair or foul, for the past 20 years, they have set themselves up to not get the benefit of the doubt from anybody. They probably have to earn it more than any other team in college football because of the brand that they've established for themselves. They're not getting any sympathy from anyone. And when you go and you lose in Norman the way that they did, and SMU loses their conference championship the way that they did, and you don't want to punish a team for getting to the postseason in their conference, it's close. It's 51-49, but we'll lean SMU because at the end of the day, we can say Bama, 3 losses. They're a big boy team. They don't need any handouts, and we can't get that loss in Norman out of our minds, which wasn't just a loss. It was a butt kicking. So it was an embarrassment. So I don't really take issue with the way that they did it. And I'm at peace personally with the way that the committee sucks at this.
Yes, the committee does suck at this because
now that's all my piece. You take the rest of the time. Go for it.
Thank you for doing that because I needed that time to be able to do this. Was to find the graphic on social media and throw it up here. So here's the bracket. I think Texas. Who is Texas beaten? Why does Texas deserve the best spot?
Nobody.
In the entire bracket, playing the number 16 team in the country and the number 12 team in the country in order to get to the semifinals. For one, Texas hasn't earned that. They've lost to Georgia twice. Their best win is at Vanderbilt by 3 points. Their other best win might be at Arkansas by 10 points, which is also Tennessee's worst loss, which is at Arkansas. So you cannot say that at Arkansas is a key win for Texas, but then say that losing to Arkansas is a bad loss for Tennessee. They just should wash each other out and be pretty even, but not be an extreme positive for Texas and an extreme negative for Tennessee. Then you look at what happened with the 3 teams of Penn State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. So credit to Penn State, who played their absolute asses off last night.
Way better than I thought they'd look. Way better.
And only losing by 8 and honestly botching away an opportunity to tie that game late by throwing an unnecessary deep ball aggressively down the field with 2 minutes to go. Should not have done that.
Well, and how about going for 2, right? You're a little vendetta.
And then going for 2.
Yeah.
Also
That's
stupid.
a whole different show, but
So dumb. But when you look and time out, I'm going to have to favorite a comment. So I'm going to come back to it from Ethan. About Texas. So Penn State also has not played anybody. They lose at home to Ohio State, yet still fall behind in front of Ohio State in the rankings by 2 spots. Notre Dame, I think Penn State and Texas both should have dropped more with their losses because they haven't beaten anybody.
Right.
Now Notre Dame and Texas both have a win at College Station, at Texas A&M on polar opposite ends of the regular season. And so, if you were, I think Notre Dame at 5 would have made sense. I think Penn State should drop behind Ohio State because clearly head-to-head does not matter to anybody in the committee. So if I were to shuffle this, if I were to fix this, I'll go back to it. Sorry. If I were to fix this, I would put Notre Dame at the 5 spot. I'd still put Texas at the 6 spot. Then I would have Ohio State at 7. And then I would have Tennessee playing at Penn State as the 9-8 game. That is what I would do with this. You would create a couple rematches potentially with Indiana, Ohio State in that first round. But you would also have and look, you can even, if you want to flub that, you can do it. Like they could work this thing so many different ways, but they chose not to. And they chose to say absolutes and things like Ward Manuel did not need to say last week when the rankings came out before championship games that teams that don't play this week aren't going to move. You should have said that.
Yep. Shut your mouth, man.
Leave yourself the open door, because what they should have done is look at the 12 teams that they knew were going to make it and then seed those 12 teams appropriately and create good matchups, create argument settling games like conference versus conference and avoid rematches. But they didn't do that. They put their foot in their mouth and stuck themselves in the back of a corner. And I think they failed by giving Texas the easiest road to the semifinal. Because look, another one, Oregon should have lost. You know what? Oregon should have lost to Penn State.
Okay.
Oregon would have had the 5 spot.
Right. And that would have been a deserving 5, obviously.
Yes. Oregon should have lost to Penn State because Penn State would have gotten the 1 and then Oregon would have gotten the 5 and they would have played Clemson and Ohio and Arizona State. Oregon should have lost last night. That is what they showed us with how they did their brackets.
Right.
So that's the situation. So Tennessee is going to Ohio State. I know we've got Titans fans watching, but also Vol fans who are crossover. I think Tennessee can win in Columbus. I think Tennessee can win that game. So we'll find out what happens. But I would have preferred.
I don't know if this
Tennessee
is
at Penn
accurate
State.
because I saw it on Twitter, but I'm seeing that the Tennessee Ohio State line opening at Ohio State 7.
Yes. Do we know game times and days yet?
Great question. I couldn't tell you. I'll look here real quick, but
okay, yeah.
I don't know.
If you can look for that, I'm going to go back to my favorited comment from Ethan on YouTube. It says Texas took Georgia to overtime. Yeah, they did. With Carson Beck, who couldn't lift his arm, and with a backup quarterback who was later concussed. Like, yes, they did technically take Georgia to overtime, but I think if you're watching that game, neither team, I thought, at that Georgia-Texas game yesterday looked very impressive to me. I thought the most impressive team on the weekend, honestly, was Penn State. I think Penn State proved the most overall. So we're seeing Clayton says December 21st for Tennessee, Ohio State. There is one game Friday night, the 20th, and there are 3 games Saturday, the 21st. Those 3 games
at noon,
are
4 and 8.
Noon, 4 and 8 Eastern. Does it say where Tennessee has slotted?
I'm still looking for that. I don't know if that's been established yet.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts on what I just said?
My final parting thought is, if you want hours upon hours of relitigating what the committee messed up, you can find it out there. I personally am moving on, not because I think it's unimportant. If that's your thing, go for it. For me, as a casual college football fan, and I told you this before we started the show, I am excited for us to be beyond this. We'll do the 48-hour news cycle of debating the setting, but then we'll get to the games. And I'm a huge fan of the expanded playoff as an idea. I'm really excited about these games and the playoff and seeing more really high caliber teams play each other in single elimination games. And so, I think this is going to be really exciting. Some of these matchups I see, like Tennessee, Ohio State, unfair or fair, should be a really fun game. Indiana, Notre Dame. I know those two fan bases hate each other. That's going to be an awesome game. I think these are going to be really fun to watch, and I'm excited we have more of them.
So it looks like Tennessee at Ohio State, 11 a.m. Central Time in Columbus. It looks like Clemson at Texas will be the Friday night game, And then
How
the
sweet
two
would it
other.
be if Clemson beat Texas? By the way, I'm gonna
Look,
be hate
I
watching
think
that.
here's the interesting. I think it is correct to put at Texas one of the night games because
Sure.
it's less frozen.
Uh-huh.
But you're gonna have to decide what's the other night game at Penn State or at Notre Dame. Both frigidly cold places.
Right.
So all right. So Noah's asking for it. We're gonna do it. But the only two of the four is Tennessee at Ohio State, 11 a.m. Central Time on Saturday the 21st, and Clemson, Texas is the Friday night game to kick things off for the playoff. Okay, let's do it. Titans at hosting the Jags. We got about 13 minutes here. The Titans talk is now coming. We're going to jump into our X Golf X Factors because it's Mac Jones versus Will Levis today. Trevor Lawrence is on injured reserve for the rest of the season. So it's now time for our X Golf X Factor. What is the X Factor for today, a Titans victory against the Jags? What is the X Golf X Factor for today for a Titans victory against the Jags? What has to happen? Let me tell you guys about our friends at X Golf, both in Nashville and in Murfreesboro. PlayXGolf.com is their website. Look, it's freezing cold outside. If you want to, over the holidays, you're going to have extra time. Hopefully you get to take some time off around the holidays, get family in town. You need to find things to do, right? Great thing to do when family's in town. Go to the best golf simulator sports bar in the area in both Nashville out west and in Murfreesboro at playxgolf.com. It would be a great sports bar if it didn't have golf simulators. It would be a great golf simulator experience if it didn't have a sports bar, but it's got both. So if you're watching bowl games, college football playoff games, pro football games, they've got them all on the TVs, a great food menu, a great bar, and the best golf simulator experience on the market today at playxgolf.com in both Nashville and Murfreesboro. So Easton, X Golf X Factors, here we go. What are you thinking here? I'll let you start and I'll check in on the chat. So how you feeling about this X Golf X Factor here?
Sure. Let's see what some folks in the chat are saying here. Their X factors, and I have a lot of comments about the playoff here bleeding into our Titans talk. Special teams, according to Ramon, a regular installment here for the Titans this year. Harold Landry, need him to have a big game coming back. X factor from Edward is Ridley in the revenge game, which I will have a lot to say about at the end of our show. Somebody earlier, I started Ashley asking me to give some betting. Don't worry, I will give you. I have lots of bets for today. We will share in just a moment in time for you to get them in. So be ready with your sports book. Offensive line, according to Pistol, turnovers is the same as last week and frankly any week, according to Rooney. Some predictable X factors in here. Not seeing a limit. Brian Thomas Jr. is a big one from Roberto. He obviously has the ability to take over a game already. He's been a fantastic rookie. My X factor, Austin, is the Titans. It's very simple, frankly. It is the Titans' run defense simply returning to form or close to form. You had the outlier of all outlier weeks last week. They forgot how to be a good run defense between the tackles, which had been a strength of theirs all season. I am simply asking for them to just not do that again because I know who is playing quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars today. His name is McCorkle Jones. He is not good at football.
That is actual name?
Yes, McCorkle Jones. Look it up.
Brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal, and it's funny. So McCorkle is not good at football, and if you force him to be the guy, if you force him to pass the ball a lot in this game, I don't think it's going to go well for the Jaguars. It has been, we've gotten 3 Mac Jones games this year. And aside from last week, when they scored 2 touchdowns on their last 2 drives in the second half of the fourth quarter, when they were trailing by 3 touchdowns, made it a game, saved face on the stat sheet. They have struggled to score more than 7 points in all 3 Mac Jones games. It has been 6 points, 7 points, and then last week it was 6 points until garbage time when they mounted a comeback. So I just don't see him doing much against this Titans team if they aren't able to run the ball effectively, which they shouldn't be able to do on paper against these Titans defenders. But last week, these defenders showed their capability to roll over for some reason. So just don't do that. That's my X factor.
And there should be some different Titans defenders out there, correct?
There are going to be. So we saw that Jerome Baker, linebacker, is inactive. He had a shoulder injury, but he is both hurt and benched.
Both hurt and bad. He's hurt bad.
Right. And so, he is inactive today. He won't be playing linebacker again after what he put on tape last week. At least this week, he won't be doing it again. I would probably bet against that happening the rest of the year. And we have no Kenneth Murray back there, which is also a bummer.
Oh, really?
Right. On Friday, he said that he was feeling like he'd be close to go, battling an injury. Turns out he did not quite get ready to be cleared for today's game. So you'll be getting Luke Gifford wearing the green dot at linebacker today, and then a healthy mix of Otis Reese, James Williams, and Cedric Gray. You should see all 4 of those linebackers out there today for the Titans, which could, be a help to the Jaguars. We'll see how they perform.
Yeah. Who are the other, while we're on it, because people asking about Tavondre Sweat, Roger McCreary.
Sweat is playing. Roger McCreary is out.
Okay.
You've got who else? Notably, that's pretty much it. No McCreary, no Baker, no Kenneth Murray. You're not seeing Leroy Watson, right tackle, come back today, but we were expecting that not to be quite ready for him to be back out there. So you do have Chidobe Awuzie back today, obviously from IR. He'll have to play in a hurry considering Roger McCreary is down. So it'll be Chido and Jarvis Brownlee running the game back there for the cornerbacks. That's kind of your update on personnel. We should see NPF. We should see NWI again today. We'll get to some bets on him in a minute.
Yeah.
We will also see MPF play right tackle for probably the entirety of the game, unless he forgets how to play football again. But Sneaky had a couple decent games in a row in NPF, just for the record. We've not talked about it, but there's a reason why they're not rotating right tackle anymore. It's because MPF has been serviceable for 2 weeks in a row. Let's see if we can make it 3.
By the way, I do have an update. Tennessee at Ohio State is actually Saturday night, the last game.
Ooh, that's exciting. I like that. Whew. That's a big brand matchup in a big spot. Listen, 6-6 Michigan did it. How hard could it be? Just go in there and win. It's not hard.
But they did it at 11 a.m. Central.
Don't care.
That's cold, man. It's gonna be some cold.
Probably.
Buckle up, Nico. All right, so
good thing Jarvis Brownlee's not out there. You'd be all right.
All right, so my X factor for the Titans to get a win over the Jags is it's my one word from the last Titans win.
Oh,
composure. Keep your composure. They kept their composure against the Texans and were able to win that game by allowing 8 sacks, allowing big special teams play, fumbling the football, getting some stops, converting third downs, scoring
pick
touchdowns,
6, turn around for a 70-yard touchdown.
Yes, composure, because they did not keep their composure in any way of the sense of the word in Washington when it was a lot warmer than it's going to be in Columbus in a couple weeks last week. They were awful at composure word. So I'm saying keep your composure, score touchdowns in the red zone, because even with all how bad the first quarter and the first half was for the Titans, if they could have scored a touchdown in the red zone to open that third quarter and not had a snafu happen on third down in the red zone and then settle for a long field goal, maybe that game gets a little different. But I do think it's a keep your composure type of game and figure out that you can make a winning play in a high leverage moment. I've used the term high leverage moments a lot towards the back half ever since Will Levis returned. That's what I want to see. I want to see Will Levis perform well and his teammates in the highest of leverages of moments that they have available to them. There's not that many left, for true consequences of not coming through in a big spot, but they've got to do everything they can to win a football game when they are technically still not mathematically eliminated. How can they just kick the mathematically eliminated can down the road week by week? Getting a win today does that, which allows you to play more.
There may be a situation where they win and still get eliminated by other teams winning. I'm not sure. Well,
maybe. I know they could. They would be eliminated with a loss. I do know.
Correct. They would for sure. Yes.
I do know that. All right. Let's go ahead and do this and get to our bets and our predictions.
Can we do bets and then predictions? People have a chance to place the bets.
Bets and then it's 5 minutes before the game.
Okay.
So
we got time to put them in there.
Let's place our bets. We're going to place our bets. Then we're going to do predictions. So if you got bets, if you don't have bets, then listen, you're about to have some bets. All right. First, shout out to BetMGM. We'll get to our predictions here in a second, but use our code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ Sports, up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses with BetMGM. Go big. You can also use your odds boost. I use an odds boost on Will Levis. I'll get to that here in a second. Also have more tokens that I can use. I could use a parlay boost.
They're just throwing tokens at you over there at BetMGM.
Absolutely. That's how it works. That's how it works. Okay, Easton, do you want to start with your bets for this game, or do you want me to?
You go ahead, and then I'll get whatever you don't take off the board, I'll take.
Well, one thing I took Friday night that is no longer available, it has moved quite a bit. I took Will Levis over 211 and a half passing yards.
Oh, it is much higher than that now.
It's
I
much higher.
checked it today. Yeah.
I looked this morning, it was 218 and a half. I don't know if it's still there or not, but I took the Will Levis over 211 and a half. I don't know if I would take 218 and a half.
Yeah, less excited about that number now.
So I used a token on that on Friday night, and so I'm on that. And I know you're going to get to one that is the automatic pay bet, right? I'm also on the automatic.
But you go ahead and take it. It's all right. Everybody, nobody owns this. We all share.
Nick Westbrook-Akine, anytime touchdown is now plus 200. It's getting less fun, less long of odds.
Don't care,
but still a good bet.
Yeah, don't
plus
care.
200. I'll take that. So I put NWI plus 200. You know what I also did? That was also plus 200.
What?
Calvin Ridley, anytime touchdown. I did both of them. I did both of them. One hits, profit, boom. So those are my 3 plays. Actually, no, I have another play, but I know you told me about this play, so I'll save it for you.
Does that play happen to be a first quarter bet from the Tennessee Titans? Does. So this is my favorite straight bet of the week. I'm taking Tennessee minus a half point in the first quarter. Simply win the first quarter by a point. I think it's going to be an emphasis for this team after the way that they started last week in the first quarter. It got out to a really poor start. I think today they're going to come out humming, motivated to not do that again. And so I like them. It's plus 114 odds to win the first quarter. So that's my favorite straight bet. Obviously, place the anytime touchdown for NWI. I also like NWI long of over 18 and a half yards today. That's minus 115. He has done that in 4 consecutive weeks. He
what
tends
was the
to
number
catch
again? I'm sorry.
18 and a half, over 18 and a half, his long reception. I like that one today. Now, I have 2 volume. Typically, the bets I'm handing out on this show are straight bets. They're relatively even money. We're trying to hit at a high clip. These are not high clip because these are long odds bets. We got an escalator and a mine shaft, which are techniques in betting where an escalator, you take a guy's number and then up and up and up, and you do 1 unit, half unit, quarter unit, tenth of a unit, and you hope to maximize. And then it's the opposite for a mine shaft, obviously. Same thing, but for numbers going down. So the escalator is the Ridley revenge game escalator. Okay, so we're taking Ridley over 64 and a half yards today is minus 120. You put 1 unit on that. Then you put a half unit on over 80 yards. You put a quarter unit on over 100 yards. You put a tenth of a unit on over 120 yards. So if you just get to the regular bet of 64 and a half, you're not gonna lose money. And then every step above that, you're gonna be making money. You're gonna be exponentially growing your wallet there. So that's the escalator for Ridley. I also just sprinkled Ridley 2+ touchdowns because it's plus 1,500, just a tenth of a unit on that, just in case. And then the Jacksonville mine shaft. I mentioned a moment ago that this season with Mac Jones, aside from garbage time last week, this team has struggled to score more than 7 points. And so I took the Jacksonville team total under 14 and a half and parlayed it with Tennessee minus 9.5, because I think there's a chance that Tennessee wins this game really handily, as I'll demonstrate with my score prediction in a minute. But parlaying those 2 things, Jacksonville team total under 14.5, Tennessee spread minus 9.5, that gives you a plus 290 odds, half unit on that. And then we're going to go down the mine shaft here. Jacksonville under 10.5 points team total, plus 340, put a quarter unit on that. And then Jacksonville under 8.5 points team total is plus 650, put a tenth of a unit on that. I think today could be an ugly stinker of a game for Jacksonville offensively. And if it comes to fruition, we'll be making some money on it.
Okay. I'm doing the Calvin Ridley escalator as we speak.
All right. You want to get while you're placing that, do we want to get my prediction as we are running out of time here?
I'm already done. So there you go.
Okay.
Cool. So Anthony says you guys should do betting at the start. Okay, we'll do that. We'll flip it.
That's fine. I'm happy to do that in the future. I know it's kind of a stressful thing to get the bets in at the last minute. That's fine.
All right. So prediction. Go. Predictions. Who wins? Titans versus Jags. Titans are now.
This is my strongest score prediction of the year, Austin.
3-point favorites now. They've lost the hook.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm taking them with 3. I'm taking them the hook. I think that there's a chance Tennessee wins handily today. I think Tennessee wins 27-13. And I think that the Jacksonville's only touchdown of the day might come in garbage time. I think it might be 27-6 late.
Okay. I also thought the over 40.5 is an interesting play as well, because we'll
it's a low number.
But yeah, so you're right at 40. So I see Louis says Titans win. Kendrick says 35-10. Guy says 17-13 Titans. Pistol Randy says 35-10. 21-17 Jags embrace the tank. I think the Titans score 27. You said 27, right?
I said 27-13. Yes, sir.
I think it's going to be 27-17. 27-17 Titans win, so they cover the 3. I think there's points to be had in this game. Titans playing some inexperienced defensive players. I think Mac Jones has nothing to lose, right? He's got everything to play for, nothing to lose.
True.
So chuck it down the field, see what happens. So 27-17 is my final.
We'll see.
Hey, bad things could happen, but you never know. Pass interferences happen every once in a while too. So that is it for us. We will be right here for the halftime show. I do want to post this right here in the chat. I am posting a YouTube show because if you're a Tennessee Vols fan, our Vols podcast is going live very soon because they are getting this ready. The Ward Manuel interview just ended on ESPN. So they're about to go live to react to the playoff rankings and the Vols spot and talk much more at length. So if you're a Vol fan, I just posted that in the chat on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitch. You can check that out. That's with Charlie Burris and Zach Reagan. They do a great job breaking down all these things. They've been able to process things while we have been talking. I have not been able to process things because it happened while we started. So let's get it going. We'll see what happens. Titans and Jags coming up next. We'll see you guys at halftime and post-game. Shout out to our great sponsors as well. BetMGM. Hopefully we can win some money on BetMGM. Use our code ATOZ Sports to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Also, shout out to X Golf Nashville, playxgolf.com, and T-Dot when nobody trashes Tennessee.com. See you at halftime. Appreciate it as always.